by one God. Right? And if there is two, will be the confliction and distraction, right? In many things. Okay? Make sense?
It makes sense, but they can like get in their consent. Like they don't need like to fight. They can just is good.
So the mutual, it cannot be mutual for every time, right? So what's the age of this universe? If you say this or that, so the sun from day 1 to today is still exists in this way, right? What is the temperature, upper side, the temperature of the sun? Do you know that? Temperature of the sun.
No, I don't know.
Okay. So in the upper side of the sun, there is a 57,000 degrees Celsius temperature. So what we get, only 15 degree or 16 degree or 20 degrees, maximum 50 degree in Europe, right? So what happened? The sun has the 56,000 degrees Celsius temperature, 57,000 degrees Celsius temperature, but we are getting our 10 or 20 degree. What happened? Because there is someone who is controlling everything, right? If, for example, in your...
Like because of the distance of Earth to the sun?
Because of what?
The distance between Earth and the sun?
The distance between Earth and
distance?
That's why it comes...
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to the light, yeah?
We don't get like lots of temperature
Okay.
because the distance of Earth to the
Because
sun.
the sun is far away, she said.
Yeah.
So the far away, every time, the far, only for the distance, it cannot, for example, the light, power of the light, 3.0 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. It cannot be changed. So you cannot say the distance, for the distance making. For example, in your stomach, come to your stomach. In your stomach, there is hydrochloric acid, right? And this pH, the value of this pH is just 1, and which is very, very acidic. If you take your ring or your phone or any stainless steel on this acid, it will melt. So why your stomach is not melting? What's the reason? According to the logic, right? According to the logical mind, if a stainless steel becomes melt by 1 pH value of hydrochloric acid, why our stomach? It's not the stainless steel, right? So why it is not melting? That's the thing. What I think, that's the thing. What I think is that there is a creator who created. There is a layer, right? The creator created a layer which dissolved it, right? This pH. So then we can take the food, our digest system. That our most complex is our digest system. And if you have a look on the neuron and the nephron, there is a 12 lakhs nephron on every human body's kidney, right? So each nephron contains many parts. So each part contains individual character, right? And in your nephron, there is a different kind of nephron. My question is, without anything, if I say this phone comes from nothing, or this phone comes from like by itself, you will not believe in it, right? So how you believe there's without anything, it is just controlling? There should be one, right? If there is 2 or 3, there will be contradiction, right? So that's what we believe. There is one God, right? And
does she believe in God?
Yeah, he's believing in something which is superpower. So
Are you
agree?
spiritualist? Are you a spiritualist?
No, it can be like a spirit. I believe in the universe.
You believe the universe is God?
Well, if you want to call God, can be God.
No. I'm just trying to understand.
I don't put like a name in what I believe.
No, but in order for us to understand the type of God you believe, because there are certain people who believe everything in the
I don't
universe.
believe in a God.
Like you are believing.
You call this a God, I call it universe.
So
Okay, so it's like pantheism?
Yeah.
Yeah? So it does have a name, you see?
Yeah.
So this is, the reason I asked you
I
is,
think every single person needs to put a sign in everything. For example, if I believe in the universe, it's a pantheist. If I believe in God, it's a Christian or Muslim.
so why do you believe in pantheism? What is the reason? What is it that's a strong point in pantheism that makes you believe that the universe is God?
The thing is, I don't believe that the universe is God because I don't believe that it exists a God.
So what do you think the universe is? Do you think it existed by itself?
Could be. I could be like a scientist who just.
No, but the scientists say that the universe is nearly 14 billion years old.
Yes.
That means it started somewhere.
Okay.
It has an age, which means it has a beginning.
Okay.
So anything that begins to exist must have a cause.
Okay.
Okay?
So you're calling the cause God?
Well, if you want to call it God, that's fine. If you don't want to call it God, you can call it a natural being. But the question is not about the name. The question right now is whether the universe is contingent on the cause, or is it self-sufficient and
Self-existing, yeah.
Self-existent.
Okay, when you say self-existing, that means it must have always existed.
So,
Okay.
so for
One second.
yeah.
I don't mean to hijack your discussion.
No problem.
I just want to get to the point rather than talking a lot about science, because we can be all the other ones.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to understand your perspective of your belief and what makes it true.
It's because I don't, you can say that I'm wrong. It's fine for me.
Right now, I'm not saying you're right or wrong. Right now, I'm trying to understand your concept of your belief.
I can say that I don't have like a belief like normal as you all.
You do believe that the universe began to exist at some point. So do you believe the universe is contingent on some external power to the universe?
Like,
You know, like for example, if I asked you, can someone who begins to exist bring himself or herself into existence? You will say no, because they never existed in the first place and they cannot exist by themselves. So there must be an external agent to bring that into existence. Do you understand? Okay. Now what was that external agent that brought the universe into existence? Because we have already confirmed that the universe began to exist at some point.
You asked like in my opinion.
Yeah. I want to know where do you think it came from?
From somewhere in the universe.
But the universe wasn't there, remember?
No.
You're talking about the beginning of the universe.
Yeah, so you calling like God, I call it universe, it's like the same thing.
Okay, we can ask that question. It's a good question, which many people ask. So we believe that God did not begin to exist.
Okay.
We believe God is self-sufficient, eternal, immortal, all-knowing, all-powerful. So these are the attributes of God, what defines him as God. Okay? Unlike the universe, you don't think the universe has its own mind, do you?
Okay.
Do you or do you not?
They're all mine.
No, do you think it has a mind to think, to rationalize?
No, I don't think so. It's more like it's because
Okay, let me ask you. The rock is part of the universe.
okay.
Do you think the rock can think?
No, it's obviously
Okay, now let's go to the moon. Can the moon think?
no. It's
Let's
because,
go bigger. The sun, does it have consciousness?
It's because I'm calling universe in what I believe. I'm not saying that it's a rational power. I'm just saying that everything that I just like put in the sky and what is, you know?
No, but I'm basing this cause and effect.
Because I don't accept that it will be like a cause and effect in a rational way.
Cause and effect is from logic, rationality, and science.
Yeah, but
Science uses cause and effect.
yes, it is.
So I'm using the same technique, the same methodology, which logicians and scientists use. That if something begins to exist, then it must have a cause. It is not some, you know, they're going a bit in a philosophy. They say that there's an existence which is necessary, and there is existence which is contingent. Contingent meaning it depends on external.
I know what.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, for the sake of audience
Yeah.
who might not be as clever as you, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that dummy.
Yeah.
Philosophy is not for everyone, you know. So just these words, some people might hear first time. Okay, when I heard it first time, I had to ask someone, what does it mean? So contingent just means dependent. So we know that the necessary being is never dependent, whereas the contingent being is always dependent. So if the universe is not necessary, that means it doesn't have to be as it is. Then it is contingent or something. Sorry about that. Yeah, the Speakerscorner.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that's the reason I said, because the universe cannot create itself, it cannot think for itself, it cannot exist by itself. So the question is, it must have come into existence by someone and from someone. Now the question is, who or what is this someone or somebody?
In my opinion.
It might be.
In my opinion.
Yeah, in your opinion, wow.
Yeah, because
What's your opinion on this?
as long as you believe that the universe is contingent and is not a necessary thing, then it logically follows that you should believe that something caused the universe. It's a logical deduction. Yeah?
Okay, I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, let me give you two options. Which is what we can break it down in the simplest way. So either the universe came from something or nothing. Which is more probable or logical?
Nothing.
Nothing? Really?
Nothing?
In my, well,
Okay, let me ask you. That's fine. That's fine. If she says nothing,
Yeah.
let me ask you. Does nothing exist?
nothing probably exists.
What does it exist though?
No, in a scientific way. But,
Sorry, was that a no?
no, what do you want to I don't understand.
Okay, do you exist?
I said earthly.
Okay, you're something. You're not nothing, right? Now the question is, does nothing exist?
Okay.
No.
No.
If something that doesn't even exist, how can it bring about something that does exist, like the universe?
So you're saying that something exists, but
You're getting that. So the only alternative is something. It cannot be nothing. If nothing doesn't even exist.
So whether I think she's thinking like the universe, do you think that it's come from nothing or it's make existing itself?
No, that's what I'm asking. So we have already come there because it's contingent. Then we know it doesn't exist by itself because it's contingent.
okay, so in your point, you have only one God that creates everything, and this is right.
Don't jump the gun yet. Don't jump the gun yet. So we haven't got to God yet. We are only trying to logically understand whether there is something out there other than the universe, which brought the universe into existence. You see what I mean? Now, we have ruled out nothing. We have ruled out that the universe created itself or the universe caused itself. Now, the only alternative that we have left is a something. Okay? Now we have to understand this something. Does this something exist by itself? Or was it itself caused by something else? You know, the chain continues. Because if that something is contingent on someone else, then we can rule out that this something is independent and self-sufficient. So ultimately this cannot go on, you know, it has to stop somewhere. There is something called, what is it you call in science where it doesn't go on? Yeah,
Infinity.
Infinity.
Yeah, infinity.
So, are you with Pablo? Pablo. All right, tell Pablo if he can come in if he wants to.
She's asking for help.
Pablo, is that how you invite yourself in?
So do you want to come?
That's fine. So I think Paulo did want his friend to speak to us. But anyway, I think the point was made that in order for something to exist, it must be either self-existing, self-sufficient, and it must have the quality of aseity. It's not dependent on anyone for its existence. If it does, then that thing is contingent, and that's the reason we call that contingent thing dependent on a higher being. And this higher being can only be God, because for that non-contingent thing, it must have certain qualities like self-existing, it must have consciousness, it must have a will, it must have
Intellect,
power, knowledge, ability to create, for example.
Just I am asking to you a question. Why he is calling her? What's the reason? Why Paul is calling her?
I don't know. That was Pablo.
Yeah.
So anyway, they might have their reasons. But I think the lady did understand.
She did understand.
Anyone who says the universe is eternal, because people say this, you know, try to circumvent this. So, in order to get away with the infinite regress problem, because you cannot keep on saying, okay, this created this,
This created infinity.
because it has to end somewhere. Otherwise, none of this chain would ever exist.
Yeah.
It's like when I go to a library, and if there are infinite number of people in front of me, I will never get the book.
Yeah.
Because infinite means never ending.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has to end somewhere.
It has to be limited.
Now, why eternal universe doesn't work, because as I said, the scientists, and this is majority of the scientists, believe that the universe began 14 billion or so years ago.
Yeah.
So they do believe that it has a beginning. And also they believe that the universe is going to end one day. You know, the
Expansion,
the Big Bang and the
Big Bang expansion will be at a time,
Yeah.
and then it has to be stopped. So there's
just like a balloon, it cannot go on expanding forever.
It will
As soon as it reaches a certain point,
it will be split.
and they believe. So this is from the scientific perspective, and we also as Muslims believe that Allah is the one who is the creator of the universe, the heavens and the earth, and Allah is also going to be the one who is going to end all this one day.
That's what I believe as well.
This is something that we believe as well.
This is going with scientific, rational, logical, in every way. It is going. Our belief is going with everything. When we talk about the scientific thing, when we talk about the rational, when we talk about the logic. So that's what we try to convey the message to this lady, and we think she catch it. I hope. Right?
Inshallah. So what I was going to say is that, inshallah, I mean, look, eternal universe doesn't exist. The reason for that is because the scientists themselves do not agree that the universe is something which is eternal. Okay? Due to the law of thermodynamics, specifically the second law, okay, which takes entropy into existence, that everything that is in order comes, it ends with a chaos. Every system. So there has to be an end to this. Some point the entropy kicks in and you cannot have a cycle that goes on. So inshallah, as Muslims we believe that Allah created the universe, created us, created everything. Okay? So Jazak Allah Khair.
Jazak Allah Khair for joining with us.
Subscribe to DawahWise and try to
subscribe to
comment and like, inshallah.
Yeah, Mr. Hashim is from
Ramadan
Dawah.
Kareem to all of you.
Ramadan
Keep us
Kareem
in your
to
du'as.
April.